Nice, right? Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Harry Morgan Moses, and usually when I'm a guest around, people introduce me with a very fancy story of my history. So I have them in my hand. This is a book I wrote a number of years ago, and I didn't publish it for about 10 years because it was kind of thick, meaning the ideas are really strong. They're about habits and attitudes and how you use them in your life, but most people don't know their habits and attitudes are creating the way they are in the world. And so this is a book called Obvious Power. It's the secrets of habits and attitudes, and it's a very good book, and I call it to your attention. I have it out there. Many of you also, how many have a copy of my CD, the meditation CD? Many of you have this CD. This actually CD is listed, I'm proud to say, listened to thousands of people around the world probably daily. It's one of the vital things that we need in our lives, and if you do not have a meditation practice, get one. And the best way to start, if you don't have one, is just get this CD. You do not put it in your car. Do not drive with this CD. And just relax into it. And you will probably not get to the end. Most people fall asleep before they get to the end, which is normal and natural. Eventually, one day, you'll hear the end, and you go, oh, that's how it ends. But the good news is that what's happening in meditation, as Deepak Chopra says, you all know about chopras. You have energy chopras all in your body. Oh, no, it's chakras. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. The energy centers in your body, the chakras, they will align and become still. And that's when your body relaxes and your mind is able to receive. Ernest Holmes, the great metaphysician from the last century, said that meditation is for the purpose of in-breathing spirit. In-breathing spirit. And then we learned, we in New Thought, we are all New Thought people. Did you all know you're New Thought people? Yeah. We in New Thought, we discovered something wonderful. This thing is called spiritual mind treatment. We soften it up for people who don't understand because spiritual mind treatment just means affirmative prayer. But it means deliberately affirmative prayer, a prayer that does not leave room for anything other than the affirmation. And so what he says is that kind of work, spiritual mind treatment, is for using spirit for different purposes. So meditation is for breathing it in, and spiritual mind treatment is for using it for definite and specific purposes. And I've been doing this, so what it says here on the back of the book, I'm a nationally recognized author and speaker. Thank God I'm also internationally recognized because they've invited me to England back. It's a good thing they know who I am. I'll be speaking in England in October if you want to come over. I'm going to be doing the seminar that I'm doing this afternoon. Although I'll be doing that seminar for 2 days. Today I'm going to do it for 90 minutes. So you're going to get God really fast. But basically what the seminar is, what happened in my life, in 1976, I got a blood disease. And the blood disease created blood clots. And if you know anything about blood clots, they're dangerous because if they loosen, they can get stuck in your lungs or stuck in your brain or stuck in your heart, and you don't do very well when that happens. So the doctors said, well, this is a very bad thing. And they said, you're probably not going to walk again, so that's a challenge. That was a very big challenge for me, a 20-year-old kid. That's not what I wanted to hear. And they said, and I said, well, I'm a skier. And they said, well, that's tough. And I didn't like that idea at all. They scared the death out of me. I was only 20. They scared the death out of me, putting me in the catacombs of all the test rooms and hanging me by machines upside down and measuring every which way. And by the time my brother called and said, you know, I know this guy who teaches this stuff that helped me with my sore throat problem. Well, my problem was a little bit bigger than sore throats, but he said, but would you like to talk to this guy? I said, well, I'll talk to anybody about anything. And because they were scaring the heck out of me, and it didn't look good. It just didn't look good, not to mention there was some pain involved. And so the doctor came to see me, this good doctor. His name was Dr. William McDonald Hart, and he was a science of mind doctor. And he gave me a whole other prognosis. After meeting me and talking to me for half an hour, he stood up, he shook my hand, he said, you know, Harry, I've got some news for you. First thing is, I'm awfully glad to have met you. He said, the second thing is, I want you to know everything's going to work out just fine. 27 years later, I end up every one of my talks by reminding you that everything's going to work out just fine. And he had a much better idea, and I took his idea. So these doctors who call themselves MDs, I call them minor deities, they didn't have a good prognosis, but the one who had a DD, a doctor in divinity, he had a good prognosis. And I chose that one. And then I became that, the guy with the DD, who tells everybody there's a good prognosis ahead. There's a very good prognosis ahead. So today's talk, I don't know if you know, so what does it say here? It says a recognized author, speaker, director of the Spirit Work Center in Burbank, where I've been for 11 years. He's the most senior advisor of the Association for Global New Thought, the author of the popular book, It's So Easy When You Know How, and other stuff that's out there. Bottom line is, I walk around talking about this stuff all the time and have been doing it for 26 years. And I haven't run out of things to talk about because I've discovered something absolutely extraordinary. That I am what God is and God is what I am, and how much God I can have depends on how much God my heart is open to. How much God anyone can have depends on how much God their heart is open to. And I'm teaching this workshop this afternoon. I invite you to come. I've rearranged a lot of the stuff that I've been learning for 26 years, and I've put it in together in a sort of simple format. There's things to know, and one of the things that's my pet peeves is that you cannot pay extra money to know it. It's just one of my pet peeves. That I have a lot of people that I've known over the years, teachers of this work, who now charge thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to attend a seminar. My basic idea is it should cost you about $7.50 an hour to learn important things. So you can come to my seminar for $15, you could pay $10,000 to go to Tony Robbins' seminar, and I promise you I'll give you more information. So there's so much to learn. That's why we can come back time and time again. It's why we come, I'm going to the chapel and I'm going to get married. You know that song? I'm going to the chapel and I'm going to get married. Okay, guess what? That song is a song you should be singing to yourself. And it's a song you should be singing to yourself every day. And it's a chapel you should go to every day. You should go to the chapel and get yourself married. Get yourself married to the I am that is your true and eternal nature, because you have two different natures. I don't know if you knew that. You have the nature of your eternal self, which is whole, complete, and perfect, born in the image and likeness of the One, born in the pattern of the One. I don't know if you know it, although it looks like there's a lot of different people and races and colors and ways of being. There's only one child of the infinite. Only one child of the infinite. Everybody say, I am that. I am that. There's only one child of the infinite. Everybody say, I am that. Yes, because the One birthed itself in its image and likeness in its entirety. And birthed it as you. And birthed it as me. In fact, we had a way shower came along named Yeshua ben Joseph. Some people call him Jesus the Christ. Yeshua ben Joseph came around. He said, there's a power within me. And it's the same power that's in with you. It's the same power that's in Abba. Abba was who he called my beloved. Abba has the power. And Abba gave it all to me. And this power that Abba gave to me, he also gave to you. And Abba gave it all to everybody in its entirety. And he didn't just give it and go away. He gave it and stayed with you. He, she, it, Abba gave you your life and stayed with you. It never left you. Your life didn't say, here you are, you're alive, you're on your own now. No, it said, here you are, you're alive, and I'm with you, and now you can discover who you are. Now you can wake up and discover who you are. When they asked the Buddha if he was a saint, sage, mystic, or prophet, he said, no, I'm none of those things. He said, what are you? He said, I am awake. I am awake. Everybody say, I'm awake. I'm alive. Awake. Aware. Joyous. And enthusiastic about living. Now tell it to every cell in your body. I'm alive. I'm awake. I'm aware. I'm joyous. And I am enthusiastic about living. Woo. Do you feel it in your cells? Your cells feel that. Your cells feel that because your cells are waiting for you to line up with who you really are. They're waiting for you to walk with the beloved who has been walking with you since the moment you were born, who was with me in that hospital room, said, there's another option here, Harry. There's another option here. The option is everything's going to work out just fine. And by the way, have you ever noticed that Mercedes are fine cars? Have you ever noticed that luxury Italian leather is fine leather? Have you ever noticed that fine watches are called fine watches and that good-looking jewelry is called fine jewelry? I'm telling you, everything's going to work out fine. Just fine, if you will allow it to be. So here we are in the Centers for Spiritual Living. I am that. I'm a Center for Spiritual Living. No, you personally, not this place. Say, I am a Center for Spiritual Living. Yeah, you got it. You see, Spirit is moving through you. You're the place where it's happening. It doesn't happen in a building. It doesn't happen in a garden. It doesn't happen in the chapel. It happens in you. I'm going to the chapel, and I'm going to get married. I'm going to get to the chapel, and I'm going to know the divine and I walk together. I do not walk alone. I'm talking about assimilation, circulation, elimination. Anybody ever had a problem? You do not walk alone. You ain't in there by yourself. You just think you are. And it's that loneliness is causing you pain and separation and anxiety and fear. Oh my God, something's happened to me. I'm alone. You are not alone. You've never been alone, but you forgot to go to the chapel. And you got to affirm those vows every day. And of course, the chapel is in your heart. The chapel is, do you know that you're alive with the living Spirit? Do you know that the living Spirit does not speak to you in the same language that you speak to it? You speak to the living Spirit in words. Oh God, help me. Oh God, know the truth for me. Oh God, be the truth for me. And God says, okay, and shines back with everything in life. All of a sudden, the bee is coming to tell you how wonderful you are. The hummingbird is talking to you about the glory. Your kitty cat is talking to you about how sweet you are. And it's all God talking to you. It's all God, because God doesn't speak to you in words. God speaks to you with everything. God is the everything. So when you ask God something, it's not responding in the library. You don't have to go to the library to listen to God's response. You don't have to go into the church to listen to God's response. You've got to open your eyes and wake up to see what God is saying to you. Because God's saying it through words, through deeds, through people, through visions, through friends. You have no idea where the answers to your prayers are coming from. But do you know that you are praying them? Hence that song, you think, my thoughts are prayers. I'm sorry, there is no secret place where the prayer doesn't get heard. Did you catch that? You know, it's like on the freeway when that person goes by and you want to do gestures to that person. Unfortunately, God sees that as your anger. That's not the other person's anger, that's yours. Do you see that? And we say, oh no, well he did that to me. No, you did that to you. You're in the car by yourself. You did the gesture all by yourself. It had nothing to do with anybody else. Because you had the power of choice the whole time. You had the power to either say, I could be in reaction to that person, or I could put a blessing around that person. I live at Topanga Canyon. We got a lot of motorcycles come up there all the time. And sometimes they do the stupidest things. Oh my God, passing people on the inside around blind corners. I'm thinking, oh my God. And instead of cursing at them, are you extending yourself compassionately that they're covered in divine light, that they're safe? Because when you send out a blessing to other people, guess where it's also going? It goes back to you. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, you cannot sincerely help another without doing some good for yourself. You cannot sincerely try to help another without doing some good to yourself. So imagine what happens if you change your gestures into blessings. Imagine what happens if you use that rage that you feel come up inside of you as an opportunity to see there's a place of peace in my heart, and I need to find it right here on the 405 right now. I'm going to the chapel, and I'm going to get married. And I'm going to behave like I'm in love all the time. And I'm going to behave like my beloved cares how I behave. Because my beloved does care how I behave. Because the way I behave is how I announce to my beloved how I want to be in the world. Oh, you know how we were in Friends? So I teach forgiveness. I've been teaching forgiveness for 26 years. I got certified by the Institute of Psychosynthesis International to teach forgiveness. Well, you know, Jesus didn't get certified at all. But he taught forgiveness. And what forgiveness is to get your bloated nothingness out of the way of your love. Because unconditional love is the way that God loves you. Unconditionally, God loves you. God's not waiting for you to get it right. God's not waiting for you to get out of your miserable sinnerness. You don't need to do that. You never were that. You don't have to accept that. It's not the truth about me. And humans have. They believe they fell. Somehow we fell. What, we fell? When did you fall? I fell off the cliff and lived. How'd you do? When did you fall and not get up? When did you fall and decide that the power of life wasn't within you? When did you fall and not think you were the beloved? Not think that you were deserving of everything good in the universe? When did you not make room for that good in your life? And a lot of times it happened because somebody looked at you in high school or middle school and said, who do you are? Who do you think you are? Something special. I'll tell you what, one time when I was in 8th grade, the high school teacher got mad at me, the middle school teacher got mad at me. He thought I was the source of all the problem. And he looked at me mad as could be. He had too much caffeine or something. And he said, who do you think you are? Something special? And I looked him straight in the eye and said, yes. He sent me straight to the principal's office. I hope you're going to the principal's office. Who do you think you are? Something special? Yes. I was born in the image and likeness of God. What are you talking about? Something special. Woo! Am I something special? I'll be your best friend unconditionally, God says. And he's waiting for you. He, she, it is waiting for you. There is no he in God. That's my favorite. That's your kindergarten's question, 0101. That's how I have a, we all have our sacred heart. Yeah, I try to live with my sacred heart pretty open. But once in a while, you kind of encounter a soul, you go, oh, okay, I got to close these doors. Whoa. Right? And that's the open one for me. So I got my heart wide open. People say, well, if your God is so good, how does he let this happen? Oh, God. Shut all the doors. Wait, we're back at 101. You don't know anything, do you? Do you think God made this mess? Do you think God declared war? Do you think God stood up for violence? Do you think God believes in shooting on the street or hurting somebody because they have what you want? Do you think God believes in any of that? Do you think God ever did that? God never did that. Human beings did that. And human beings can undo whatever they did. If you made a bad choice, you can change your mind. What a concept. You can change your mind. And we go even further, but if you understand, if you change your mind, you change your way of being. If you change your way of being, you change your life. So I'll tell you a story. These are about choices that we make. God is there unconditional. You remember when we were in first grade and you went out in the field and everybody was doing fine and some kid had some gum. So, oh man, that guy was your good friend. He had some gum, but he only had 3 pieces of gum. I'm not going to give it to all the kids. And so, well, there you go and say, if you give me that piece of gum, I'll be your best friend. Well, if you don't give me the gum, I won't. So we started operating the law of love backwards way back then. We started thinking, if I withhold, I'll get what I want. And we've been running it backwards ever since, until somebody comes along and says, you know, that love is given freely, without demands, without expectations, and without seeking anything in between. Doesn't want anything in return. Just love is love. Just be love. And if you decide you can be love, you got so much love you can't believe, and all you got to do is not take it back. It's like, well, okay, you don't do what I want. Well, I love you anyway. I've been married 34 years. You think my wife always does what I want? But I love her. It's not a condition of my love that she does what I want. Do you think my wife ever doesn't ask things of me that seem a little over the top? It's not a condition of my love. Do you think my grandchildren think that I don't have enough love for all of them? I got 5 now. I got 1 more coming, being born this month. 6 grandchildren. And do you think any one of them looks at Grandpa and says, you got enough love, Grandpa? My 2-year-old screams when he sees me on, Grandpa! Is everybody doing that to you when they come into your life? Ah, so much love! Well, what are you doing with your love? Are you holding it back because they didn't give it to you the way you wanted? My daughter didn't do what my son didn't do what I wanted. They didn't do what I wanted. My grandparents didn't do what I wanted. My father didn't do what I wanted. Oh! I invented something called the drama tab. You might see them at the pharmacy. They're little pieces of Velcro. You put one here and one here. And you just go, oh, you put one there and you just lament. Oh, God, you only knew my problems. If you only knew. My problems are more special than yours. And you just get that all out of your system. And oh, I feel much better now. Do you see that? That we make a choice to play in our problems. We make a choice to go down and suffer with our fears and our guilts and what our parents didn't do and where we got stuck. As if somehow that choice turned off the love machine. That choice turned off the love valve, and now the infinite love of God is not available to you. No, it's only not available to you because you have closed the door. And you can open the door. How? You can open the door by means of your spiritual practice. You can open the door by taking responsibility for your individuality. Nothing has been done unto you that you somehow didn't allow to be done. And you got to stop blaming everybody else and stake the love of God instead. And put the love of God where all of that problem was. Put the love of God where all of that problem was. My father was an alcoholic, and he's no longer here, but his intelligence flows through my body. And so my father gets my love unconditionally because I've made sure I stopped any place where I was holding it back because of. He didn't give me the piece of gum that I wanted. We must make the choice to be the love that we want in the world. If you want to find the beauty of God, you have to start looking for the beauty of God. And if you start looking for the beauty of God, you can't help but see it. It's everywhere. It's shining through everything. God never has stopped pouring beauty upon everything, all the time. But if you don't open your eyes to see it, if you stay stuck in your depression, if you stay stuck in your fear and your doubt and your guilt, you're going to not see it because not because it's not there, but because you don't have the eyes to see. So, well, where is this voice of spirit that sings in my heart? Well, have you sat in the silence? Have you listened to it? Have you reminded yourself that God is love? Have you come to the 9 o'clock service and sat in the meditation and gone into those places where your body gets still and your soul can begin to hear? Do you court the divine? Do you not know that if you're going to go to the chapel and going to get married, that you've got to be sexy? Isn't it true? You don't want to go to the chapel in your worst way, do you? You don't want to get married in your worst way. You want to be sexy, alive, alert, and aware. Here I am, my beloved. I'm here for you. Use me. So you have to set yourself up. I'm radiant, vibrant, dynamic health. I'm whole, complete, and perfect. I am the beloved of the Most High. Today is the day the Lord has made, not because the Bible said so, because my heart knows so. And I'm going to open my eyes to see it. You know, it takes a lot of attention to clear yourself from the mundacity of the race, the mundane thinking that's there all the time. But you and I are the ones who have to break free of that. Somebody already this morning told me they're afraid of the electoral process. That's the world. The world doesn't have power. Spirit has power. The world is effect. Spirit has power. If you want the world to be a compassionate place, you look out in the world, you say, I'm going to make it a compassionate place because I'm going to be a compassionate being. You want the world to be blind to color, then you have to look through the eyes of everybody and see the soul that's in there and love the soul that's in there and say, that is my brother, my sister. We are the same. There is only one child of God, and I am that. Everybody say that. Only one child of God. And I am that. And my brother Jesus is that. And my brother Buddha is that. And my brother Saint Mary is that. My sister Saint Mary is that. They're all the same. Do you see? There's only one God. God recreates itself in its image. How much of that God you have is up to you to declare. It's up for you to choose. It's up for you to create a lifestyle that opens you to that good. So do you meditate daily? Do you work on health, wealth, love daily? Do you work on vitality daily? Do you work on enthusiasm daily? Because if you don't, the other stuff will come in. The sleekness of the race will come in. The divisions of the race will come in. The separations in the race will come in. The false beliefs will come in. But all you have to do is get married. All you got to do is go to the chapel and say, my beloved, I am here for you today. Today is the day that I want more life. Today is the day I want more love. Today is the day I want to see the world with all of its glory. Today is the day I want the healing. Today is the day I want the happening. Today is the day I expect the good. And when you put yourself there, you may have to be there time and time again. But as the old Irish poem says, you never know how close you are. You may be close when it seems afar. But the secret is keep knocking. Keep asking, keep seeking. Stay in the game. Stay with your beloved. Go on to the chapel. The music's going to get good. It's going to rock. The Spirit's going to fly. Something good's going to happen with you and God today. But only if you put yourself there. Only if you have a practice that says, I see through the mist. That's what Ernest Holmes said at the beginning of the Science of Mind book. He says, these lessons are dedicated to help us see through the mist. That's the false beliefs, the unseeing, the unclarity. To see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality. To see through the mist into the glory of the peace of God. The love of God, the joy of God. Here in humanity now. Here with my grandchildren now. Here with my family now. Planting the seeds for a tomorrow that can be greater than any we've ever known before. Oh, this is the day the Lord has made. And I am rejoiced and glad in it. And my beloved says unto me, I will be your best friend, unconditionally, forever. And I say, amen. And so it is.